welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be comparing the Sennelier watercolor paints to the Winsor & Newton watercolor paints. This palette doesn't belong to me, it belongs to my school, and I accidentally kind of like took it over the summer break. I don't think I was supposed to, but I gotta return it when school starts, so that's why I want to do this video quickly and just see the difference between these two watercolor palettes. But yeah, this is how the palette came out. I think there was like some sponge or maybe a water brush here, but I didn't see that in it, so I don't know. But yeah, it has its own little palette thing here that comes out. Well, let me see if I can get it out. So there's an extra palette here. This one too. I'm such a mess. Alright, this had its own palette, but I can't find that. So this came with its own little mixing palette, but I can't find it. It's like another thing that's like separate from the backing over here. But since I can't find that, I'll try and insert it somewhere if I do end up finding it. So I'm gonna start off with the Winsor & Newton watercolor. This is what I'm going to be coloring. I will have this on my Facebook page so you guys can like download and print it out and color if you'd like. Alright, so now I'm just taping it down because I don't want it to be bending in all kinds of shape once the water is on there. I should have used a different tape. I don't know what was happening with this here. I didn't want it to come off. I wanted that nice clean border, but this tape kept lifting up for some reason. And because I was super impatient, I do end up using my hair dryer to make this process a lot faster. I put down that wash of pink color so I know where I'm kind of starting from, so like the paper isn't all white. It's kind of like you're creating your own little toned paper, and my goal with that was to make the colors that I was going to put down look like they go together. I think it worked, maybe, kinda. I don't know. I was really struggling when it came to that blush area. There was just a lot of water just puddling there for some reason. Like I was really careful not to use too much water. And I don't know, the paint was just not blending together that well, and that was like the only place I kind of noticed that was happening. But I do end up making it work at the end, so that was good. Alright, so now I'm gonna talk about the watercolors and my experience with using them. The Winsor & Newton watercolor paints were actually my first student grade watercolor paints that I had ever used. I kind of jumped from the Crayola to these, and I was so happy when I got these. I got the 12 set. I think that was like the first ever watercolor that I got, and I was like super happy about it. My favorite artist was using them, so I was like so glad to have them. She made a really pretty Kiki's Delivery Service fan art using these watercolor paints, and I was just like, damn, watercolor could do this, because I had only been using like Crayola watercolors, and I didn't even do that many watercolor drawings, but I was mostly just using Crayola, and I didn't know watercolor was capable of doing that, so I ordered it. And when I got it, it was like the 12 set, and it was such a mess. I didn't know how to blend any of the colors. All of my drawings came out looking really muddy, and I got really discouraged and I put it away. And it's just recently that I'm kind of like taking my time and like doing research and seeing how other people use watercolors, and I'm really getting into it. Well, that was a backstory. I thought I was going to talk about these paints. Anyways, back to our regular program. Okay, so I got the 24 set. These, I don't know if they'll be considered like travel sets because they're a lot bigger compared to like other travel sets that are out there. Another thing is like the colors pop out of their little pans things very easily by just like, you just flip it over and all of the colors are going to like plop right out. And that's why if you see this, the colors are like really not in order, and that's because I got tired of trying to like place them correctly. They just get falling out so easily, and I was just like, okay, I'm tired. But the colors are really nice. They mixed very easily now that I know how to mix the colors, and also there's 24 colors, so I didn't really have to do a lot of mixing. That was great. The colors are light fast, and it's at a pretty good price, $50 for 24 colors. Not bad, and it's going to last you a very long time. Like I've had my other 12 set and it's still here, and I've had that for like 6 years now. And I also have the tubes, so if a color runs out, you can just easily replace it. Alright, so that's all I have to say about the Winsor & Newton watercolor paint. I think they're really, really good. The quality is not bad. The only thing is, I guess it kind of fades out. Like, it's kind of vibrant once the color is still wet, but it does fade once it's dry. But I kind of see that with a lot of watercolors, so I don't know. It might just be a watercolor thing. But yeah, I would definitely recommend anybody to use these paints. Like, if you're getting into watercolors, try them out. If you're already into watercolors and you know what's going on, you can still use them. I think they're really good paints, and you can get some really good artworks using these paints. Alright, so this is what the final piece is looking like. So now we're gonna move on to the Sennelier watercolor paints. Alright, so these are the Sennelier watercolor paints. I'm not even sure if I'm saying the name right, but yeah, French. So these are French watercolor paints. They are considered artist grade watercolors, and I could definitely tell the difference between these watercolor paints. With this, I was struggling trying to dilute the colors just because it's so pigmented. Like, oh my god, I had to use so much water, and even then you can see like the wash I did. I wanted a lighter pink color, but it was just not getting diluted enough. I could have added more water, but I was like, am I adding too much water? But that's a good problem to have because the colors are like super vibrant, really pigmented. You get your money's worth. The paints were really smooth. They blended really nicely. I didn't see any like that cheek problem I was having with the Winsor & Newton. I didn't get that with this one here. And since I have the 48 set, I didn't really have to do a lot of blending or like mixing colors to get what I wanted, so that was great. The colors did fade once it dried, but these are so good when it comes to layering. So the more you layer colors on top, the more vibrant it's going to be. So at first, you're going to like have to work it a little bit until you get your desired color that you wanted. So yeah, these paints are light fast. They have honey in there, and so that helps to make your colors last longer. So I don't really have that many cons when it comes to these paints. The only con would be like the process of having to order these paints. Alright, so I live in the US, and the only way I could have ordered these paints was like through Amazon if I wanted to get it somewhere in the US. But on Amazon it's like $200, and so I did find like a French website where they sold these paints for cheaper plus free shipping, and I was like, this deal looks kind of sexy, so I wasn't trying to pay $60 for shipping on Amazon. No, so it's $200 and then you have to pay for shipping, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna save my money and get it through this French website. So I placed my order. It didn't go through. Something was happening with my card and it kept getting declined. And it was at night, so I couldn't call up my bank and be like, hey, what's happening? So the next day, the next morning, the bank calls and it's like, there's some strange activity with your account. And I was like, wait, what's happening? Did I get hacked or something? And they were like, somebody's trying to order something from this French website. And I was like, oh, that's me. And I was like, yeah, but it's not going through. And they were like, oh yeah, so if you're ordering out of the country, you have to go through them or like let them know you're about to do it so they authorize it. So yeah, I got my paint. It did take a while for it to come here, but I guess that's expected. But yeah, like having my card get declined and then my bank calling me, that was just like, oh my god, what's happening? But it was kind of worth it because I saved like $60. But I was like, I'm definitely not gonna go through that again just because it was just so stressful. And yeah, next time I'm just gonna go through Amazon and just pay that money plus the shipping. So yeah, but I really like these paints. I think they were worth the effort. Okay, so I'm gonna let music play for the rest of this, and I'll catch you guys at the end of the video when we're looking at the results. Alright, so this is the Sennelier watercolor paint, and here is the Winsor & Newton watercolor. There's actually a pretty big difference between these two. The Sennelier is definitely a lot more saturated, while the Winsor & Newton's a lot lighter and not as pigmented, but I think they both turned out pretty nice. So yeah, that's the difference between a $200 watercolor paint and a $50 watercolor paint. But this is just one perspective. Who knows, someone else can do these two way better than I have. So that is pretty much it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about this, and I hope you guys liked today's video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys, thanks for watching.